It's time to bring out my balls. Meatballs, to be exact, because not only is it the holiday season, it's potluck season. And you don't want to be the 11th person to show up with a veggie tray or hummus. So today we are using the crock pot brand version of an Instant Pot to make some delicious Memphis Gold meatballs. They are awesome. They are different from any type of meatball you've ever had. And best of all, they require very little effort to make. You just make the sauce, you put the meatballs in it, and you're good to go. Everybody thinks you're the savior of the party. All right. Jumping right into this process. On our Instant Pot, I'm going to put this into the saute brown feature. And I'm gonna go at the lower version. So we're just gonna give this a second to heat up, but if you're following along at home and you don't have an Instant Pot, just a medium-high heat over an oven. Just make sure you're using a big enough pot because all these meatballs need to fit. So let's give this a second just to heat up, and it should take only about a minute or two. All right, now that our pot is up to temp, we're gonna start out with 4 tablespoons of butter. And all we wanna do is get this nice and melted. And you'll recognize this very first process is just kind of building a buffalo sauce. And make sure you're adjusting your temperatures accordingly. I say medium to medium high, but just depends on how powerful your oven is. But we don't want to burn this butter. So now that I've got all that butter melted, again, 4 tablespoons, we're gonna take some hot sauce. I have got Frank's red hot sauce, and I'm gonna pour about 2/3 of a cup of hot sauce in here. And every time I introduce something to this pot, I wanna just give it just a couple of seconds, if not a full minute, to just let all those flavors come together. And again, as I mentioned, this is essentially what your buffalo sauce is. It's just butter and hot sauce. Next, what I wanna do is I have just got some honey here, and I'm gonna add about half a cup's worth of honey into this pot. So now that we've got our honey incorporated, I have just got some white wine vinegar here, and I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons worth in here. That's 1, and that's 2. And again, white wine vinegar, not white wine, not white vinegar, white wine vinegar. So now we're gonna start adding our seasonings. The first thing I'm gonna add is 2 tablespoons of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of crushed red pepper flakes, 2 teaspoons of a chipotle chili powder. You can use just regular chili powder. I just like the smokiness that the chipotle brings. And this is a point where you might wanna just kind of try out a teaspoon and see how does it kind of come across, because you are making this for a crowd if you're going to a potluck, so everybody's spice level is a little bit differently. You don't want to go too crazy. And at this point, I actually want to change to a whisk because I want these seasonings to break up, so just got me a little whisk right here. Up next, I've got a teaspoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of just regular salt. Mix that in. Next is 1 tablespoon of onion powder and 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. I am adding half a cup of just some regular yellow mustard. And this is where our gold is gonna kind of come in. And lastly, I've just got a half cup of some brown sugar here. And I'm adding that last because I just wanna make sure nothing burns, nothing goes too crazy. So we're gonna add that in. Continually stirring. And if you're making this sauce and it starts to boil, definitely lower the heat. This is better at a simmer. And now that I have got everything mixed together for our Memphis Gold sauce, I want to give it a taste and see, do I need to add something else? So, whisk out. Oh, that tastes really, really good. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna reset my camera and let this continue to simmer for about 2 more minutes. And then it will be time to add our meatballs. All right, this is simmered away for about a minute, and what I want to do is change this from saute brown to just, well, first let me hit stop. Now, I actually just want to keep it warm. And the reason for that is because our meatballs are technically already cooked, so we're not cooking them, we're just heating them up. And they'll do that pretty fast once I put this lid in. So starting out with just 4-pound bag of some frozen meatballs. If you want to make your own meatballs, absolutely go for it. It's gonna be really good. Frozen meatballs. Just get a good quality one, because the first time I did this, I used like one of those 2 packs for $4 meatballs, because I was like, oh, the sauce is the point of this. And the meatballs might as well have just been mashed potatoes. So a good quality meatball is what I recommend here. And I'm gonna put as much of this in here as I can. So let's start out with half and see where we get, because this sauce can cover quite a bit. If everything's coated and I feel like I still have a lot of sauce left in here, then I can add some more meatballs. If not, then I've got the perfect amount. because you don't want dry meatballs. And then all I am about to do right now is just put my lid on. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm allowing steam to come out. I'm gonna give this about an hour to go. Maybe midway through, I'm gonna take a toothpick. I'm just gonna poke one of the meatballs and just kind of check it and see, you know, is it cooked all the way through? Is it still giving me some resistance, which means it's frozen on the inside? And then from there, it's time to feast. And as you can tell from the steady camera shots, I am cooking and drinking alone today. Luz is at work, but that's not gonna stop us. Today's pork choice is an ode to the great state of Tennessee. Some Tennessee honey, some lemonade in a glass with some ice, good to go. And let me just say this, as a potluck rule that's kind of unspoken, but should be said every now and then to remind us. Don't bring anything to a party that you wouldn't drink or eat. I can't tell you how many times people show up with a bottle of wine. Oh, how was it?
I don't know, I just grabbed something.
Don't be that person. Otherwise, my balls are warming up, getting nice and tender, and they'll be done soon. And then we'll plate. Also, let me just say, one thing I'm gonna add to this, I'm gonna make some white rice, just some regular white rice and some chicken broth, because this is really, really good over a bed of rice. So if you have the opportunity to bring like an extra dish of rice, absolutely go for it. If not, meatballs are fine. They're gonna fly right off the shelves. I just wanna make a quick little correction. So much so that I'm not even gonna put the microphone on me in the proper way. Originally, I said to put it on the keep warm function, it was gonna heat up. I actually meant the slow cook function at a high temperature for at least an hour. So my apologies, just had to put this in there. I've been drinking, so it's excusable. And just like that, we are done. Again, we made our sauce in the Instapot. We put our meatballs in there and we just heated them up essentially. They're already cooked through. We just need to get them nice and warm. The time that's gonna take in order to heat up your meatballs just depends on the contraption that you're using. And again, you can use this on the stove top, so don't fret that you don't have one of these. But I highly recommend this because this is very, very convenient. I've already eaten like 6 of these, so I know it's good. But for the sake of the camera, I'm gonna have me a little bit more. And that's some meatball right there. Again, this is really, really good on chicken. But meatballs is just super convenient if you're doing this for a potluck. Almost any meat can work with this. Poor Choices Kitchen. Enjoy this recipe, have a good time, and make sure you look down on those people who bring the hummus and the veggie trays, because they deserve it.